Mr. President, do you think it's politically possible in Israel to get this deal done until the end?
To get the deal done?
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, is it politically
Why wouldn't the deal get
possible?
done? The deal can get done. We'll see what happens. We're dealing with very complicated people, but a deal can absolutely get done.
President,
Now that you support an Israeli strike on Iran.
We'll see what happens.
President Trump, I want to Prime Minister Netanyahu. We've heard Joe Biden and Donald Trump take credit for the hostage and ceasefire deal. Who do you think deserves more credit?
I think President Trump added great force and powerful leadership to this effort. I appreciate it. He sent a very good emissary. He's helped it along. And, you know, I'll just tell you, I'm happy that they're here. And I'm sure the President is happy that they're here. And I would think that's about enough.
Mr. President, Prime Minister, what about Elizabeth Surkov, the Israeli hostage held in Iraq?
What about the Israeli press taking a press conference in Israel and not in Washington?
We would love to see the press
Again, my question, Prime Minister Netanyahu, do you support going forward with this deal and getting all the hostages out?
I support getting all the hostages out and meeting all our war goals that include destroying Hamas's military and governing capabilities and making sure that Gaza never poses a threat to Israel again.
Are you willing?
All three.
Are you willing to agree? Are you willing to agree together? Are you willing to agree to Trump's vision to bring all the hostages out?
I think that I should talk to President Trump.
So
Okay.
I'll ask, do you agree with Trump's vision of getting all the hostages back home, even if it means to end the war?
Well, I'm not sure that you articulated correctly what the President's vision is. You can ask, he can speak for himself. He does that very, very well. I have my own views, 3 goals, not 1, not 2, 3 goals, and I will meet all 3 goals. I think the President can help enormously. He brings fresh thinking.
Any address to the
Fresh
fact
thinking.
that terrorists who murdered hundreds of people were listed their home or the part of the deal?
It's a horrible thing. We can't forget it. I'll never forget it, and you can't forget it. And some people want to put it out of their memory, but we're not going to ever let that happen. It was a horrible day, October 7th. That was a horrible period of time. And a lot of people like to pretend it didn't happen. It happened. There's a big group of people that like to pretend it didn't happen, like the Holocaust didn't happen. Same mindset. And now we're going to get this thing wrapped up, and we're going to get it done. We're also dealing, I think, very successfully with Russia, Ukraine. We're going to hopefully get that one done at some point in the not too distant future. That's a complex problem also, but we solve problems. We'll, you know, when I left, we had no problem. There was no Ukraine and Russia fighting. There was no October 7th. There was nothing, and some very poor leadership led to a lot of problems and a lot of death. And it's a shame, but we'll put it out. We'll put out the fires. We have a lot of fires, but we'll put them out.
Mr. President, why do you still support the Palestinian state like the peace plan you presented in January 2020? Is this plan still on the table?
Well, a lot of plans change with time, and a lot of death has occurred since I left and now came back. This death occurred not while I was here, but while somebody else was here. It shouldn't have happened. They shouldn't have allowed it to happen. It would have never happened, and that includes Russia, Ukraine would have never happened. Not even a little bit, not even a chance. But now we are faced with a situation that's different, in some ways better and in some ways worse. But we're faced with a very complex and difficult situation, but we'll solve the problem.
From Gaza, out of Gaza. If not Jordan, Egypt, what other countries you think might accept Palestinians from Gaza?
Well, I think Jordan and Egypt will. I know they've spoken about it with you, and they say they're not going to accept. I say they will. But I think other countries will accept also. I think that Gaza maybe is a demolition site right now. If you look at Gaza, it's all, I mean, there's hardly a building standing, and the ones that are going to collapse. You can't live in Gaza right now, and I think we need another location. I think it should be a location that's going to make people happy. You look over the decades, it's all death in Gaza. This has been happening for years. It's all death. If we can get a beautiful area to resettle people permanently in nice homes and where they can be happy and not be shot, not be killed, not be knifed to death like what's happening in Gaza. And right now you have in Gaza a very dangerous situation in terms of explosives all over the place, in terms of tunnels that nobody knows who's in the tunnel. The whole thing is a mess. And I think that if we can resettle, and I believe we can do it in areas where the leaders currently say no. I mean, I've been saying that with Mexico, having to do with the border and all of the things, and you saw what happened, 10,000 soldiers, and they're going to do a good job. I really believe that, and I believe Canada is going to do a good job also. They said the same thing, and then they did something much different than what you were hearing. This is a very, very difficult situation, but we're going to get it solved. I don't think people should be going back to Gaza. I think that Gaza has been very unlucky for them. They've lived like hell. They lived like you're living in hell. Gaza is not a place for people to be living. And the only reason they want to go back, and I believe that strongly, is because they have no alternative. What's the alternative? Go where? There's no other alternative. If they had an alternative, they'd much rather not go back to Gaza and live in a beautiful alternative that's safe.
Mr. President,
Would Palestinians have the right to return to Gaza if they left while the rebuilding was
It
happening?
would be my hope that we could do something really nice, really good, where they wouldn't want to return. Why would they want to return? The place has been hell. It's been one of the meanest, toughest places on earth. And right now, I've seen every picture from every angle, better than if I were there. And nobody can live there. You can't live there. So if we can build them through massive amounts of money supplied by other people, very rich nations, and they're willing to supply it. If we can build something for them in one of the countries, and it could be Jordan, and it could be Egypt, it could be other countries, and you could build 4 or 5 or 6 areas. It doesn't have to be one area, but you take certain areas and you build really good quality housing, like a beautiful town, like someplace where they can live and not die. Because Gaza is a guarantee that they're going to end up dying. The same thing's going to happen again. It's happened over and over again, and it's going to happen again as sure as you're standing there, Peter. So I hope that we could do something where they wouldn't want to go back. Who would want to go back? They've experienced nothing but death and destruction.
what will you do then?
Well, I don't think they're going to tell me now.
Mr. President,
I don't think they're going to tell me.
What will you do for
I think they're going to tell Biden no, and I think they're going to tell other people no.
so you think it will happen at the end?
I think there's a good chance, yeah.
How
I'd like to
many
see that.
people are you thinking about?
All of them. I mean, we're talking
All of
about
them.
probably 1,000,007 people, 1,000,007, maybe 1,000,008. But I think all of them. I think they'll be resettled in areas where they can live a beautiful life and not be worried about dying every day.